Arun sat by the window, watching the sun rise over the sleepy village of Khandala. The golden rays gently caressed the rooftops, casting a warm glow that signaled the start of another day. But today was different. Today marked the first anniversary of his father's passing. Arun had always been close to his father, a man who taught him the value of hard work, integrity, and most importantly, the significance of family. As he sipped his tea, Arun's mind drifted to the countless mornings he spent with his father. They would sit in the garden, discussing everything from politics to the latest cricket scores. His father's laughter was infectious, his wisdom profound. Those moments were now mere memories, precious fragments of a time gone by. Arun felt a pang of regret for not valuing those moments more when he had the chance. Determined to honor his father's legacy, Arun decided to reconnect with his family. His wife, Priya, had always been supportive, but the past year had taken a toll on their relationship. His teenage daughter, Meera, had grown distant, lost in her world of school and friends. His young son, Rohan, barely knew his grandfather, and Arun feared the boy might grow up not understanding the importance of family bonds. Arun planned a family trip to their ancestral home in the hills, a place filled with memories of laughter, stories, and togetherness. It was a place where time seemed to slow down, allowing everyone to breathe and appreciate the simple joys of life. Arun hoped this trip would rekindle the connections they had lost and teach his children the value of time spent with loved ones. Later that morning, Arun gathered his family in the living room. The room was filled with the soft hum of the ceiling fan and the faint aroma of incense from the morning prayers. Priya was arranging fresh flowers in a vase, while Meera was texting on her phone, and Rohan was engrossed in a cartoon show. "I have something to discuss with all of you," Arun began, clearing his throat. He explained his idea about the trip to their ancestral home, sharing his feelings about the importance of family and the need to reconnect. Priya listened attentively, her eyes reflecting understanding and support. Meera seemed indifferent at first, but Arun noticed a flicker of interest when he mentioned the stories and games of his childhood. Rohan, on the other hand, was visibly excited, the prospect of an adventure lighting up his face. "We all need this," Arun concluded, looking at each member of his family. "It's not just about remembering the past but creating new memories together." The days leading up to the trip were filled with preparation and anticipation. Priya packed traditional clothes and snacks, ensuring they had everything they needed. Meera, though initially reluctant, began asking questions about the place and their relatives, a hint of curiosity in her voice. Rohan couldn't stop talking about the trip, his excitement contagious. Arun found himself feeling a mix of emotions. He was eager to revisit the place that held so many cherished memories but also anxious about whether this trip would bring his family closer. He knew that the past year had created invisible walls between them, and he hoped this journey would help tear those walls down. As they loaded the car and set off on their journey, Arun took one last look at their home. The familiar sight of their front porch, the garden where he had spent countless hours with his father, filled him with a sense of purpose. He was determined to make the most of this trip, to value each moment with his loved ones, and to honor his father's legacy by nurturing the bonds that held their family together. The car wound its way through the narrow roads, leaving behind the bustling village and heading towards the serene hills. The landscape changed, with lush green valleys and mist-covered mountains coming into view. The air was cooler, fresher, filled with the scent of pine and wildflowers. Arun glanced at his family. Priya was busy organizing the snacks and drinks, a small smile playing on her lips. Meera had her headphones on, but Arun noticed her looking out of the window, taking in the beauty of the surroundings. Rohan was excitedly pointing out every bird and animal they passed. Arun decided to break the silence. He started sharing stories of his childhood visits to the ancestral home, the games he played, the stories he heard, and the adventures he had. Slowly, Priya joined in, sharing her own memories, and even Meera removed her headphones, intrigued by the tales of simpler times. The journey became a bonding experience, with each family member contributing their stories and memories. They laughed together, reminiscing about the past and imagining the fun they would have during their stay. The barriers that had grown between them over the past year began to dissolve, replaced by a shared anticipation for the days ahead. As they neared their destination, Arun felt a renewed sense of purpose. This trip was more than just a getaway, it was an opportunity to rebuild the bonds that held his family together. He realized that the journey itself was as important as the destination, each moment a chance to connect and create lasting memories. The journey to the hills was long and winding, but the scenic beauty was mesmerizing. As they drove through the lush green valleys and mist-covered mountains, Arun felt a sense of peace wash over him. Priya was busy organizing the snacks and drinks, while Meera had her headphones on, lost in her music. Rohan, on the other hand, was excitedly pointing out every bird and animal they passed. Arun decided to break the silence and started sharing stories of his childhood visits to the ancestral home. He spoke of the endless games he played with his cousins, the late-night storytelling sessions by the fireplace, and the delicious food prepared by his grandmother. Slowly, Priya joined in, sharing her own childhood memories, and even Meera removed her headphones, intrigued by the tales of simpler times. The journey became a bonding experience, with each family member contributing their stories and memories. They laughed together, reminiscing about the past and imagining the fun they would have during their stay. The barriers that had grown between them over the past year began to dissolve, replaced by a shared anticipation for the days ahead. As they drove higher into the mountains, the air became cooler and fresher. The scent of pine trees filled the car, and the sound of a distant stream added to the sense of tranquility. Arun took a deep breath, feeling the stress of the past year begin to melt away. He glanced at Priya, who smiled back at him, a look of understanding in her eyes. They were on this journey together, and it was already bringing them closer. They stopped for lunch at a small roadside dhaba, a humble eatery with thatched roofs and wooden benches. The owner, an elderly man with a kind smile, welcomed them warmly and recommended the house specialties. They ordered a simple meal of roti, dal, and sabzi, savoring the flavors of the freshly cooked food. It was a far cry from the fast food they often resorted to in the city, and it reminded Arun of the meals his grandmother used to prepare. As they ate, they continued to share stories. Priya recounted a funny incident from her childhood that had everyone in stitches. Meera, initially reluctant, began to open up, sharing her own experiences and listening intently to her parents' tales. Rohan, his mouth full of food, eagerly asked questions about the places they were passing through and the adventures his parents had as children. After lunch, they resumed their journey, feeling refreshed and more connected. The road became narrower and steeper, with hairpin bends that offered breathtaking views of the valley below. Arun skillfully navigated the twists and turns, his heart swelling with anticipation as they got closer to their destination. They finally arrived at the ancestral home in the late afternoon. The house stood on a hilltop, surrounded by towering oak trees and blooming wildflowers. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of pine and the sound of birds chirping. Arun's heart swelled with nostalgia as he stepped out of the car, his eyes taking in the familiar sights. The house had aged, but its charm remained intact, a testament to the love and care of generations past. Arun's uncle, Rajesh, was the first to greet them. He was a robust man with a hearty laugh and a warm embrace. Rajesh had always been the life of family gatherings, and he welcomed them with open arms, his eyes twinkling with joy. Soon, other relatives began to arrive, filling the house with laughter and chatter. As they settled in, Arun's cousins, uncles, and aunts, each bringing with them stories and laughter. The house buzzed with activity, the kitchen filled with the aroma of traditional dishes being prepared. It felt like a homecoming, a gathering of souls bound by blood and shared memories. The children played outside, their laughter echoing through the hills. Meera, initially reluctant, found herself drawn into games with her younger cousins. She discovered a different side of herself, away from the pressures of school and social media. Rohan, too, was in his element, exploring every nook and cranny of the old house, his eyes wide with wonder. In the evenings, they gathered around the fireplace, sharing stories and songs. Arun's uncle, the family storyteller, captivated everyone with tales of their ancestors, weaving in lessons of love, sacrifice, and the importance of family. These stories were a reminder of their roots, a thread that connected them to a lineage rich in history and tradition. Arun watched his family with a sense of fulfillment. The reunion was not just about reconnecting with relatives, it was about reconnecting with each other. The warmth and love in the room were palpable, a testament to the enduring strength of family bonds. Arun realized that the time spent with loved ones was the most valuable gift, one that should be cherished and nurtured. As the night drew to a close, Arun felt a deep sense of contentment. The journey had been more than just a physical one. It had been a journey of the heart, a reconnection with the past and a reaffirmation of the bonds that held them together. He knew there would be challenges ahead, but he was confident that as long as they valued their time together, they could face anything. The next morning, Arun woke up early, eager to explore the surroundings. He took a walk through the garden, the dew-covered grass crunching under his feet. The flowers were in full bloom, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to the fading light. He breathed in the fresh mountain air, feeling invigorated and at peace. He returned to the house to find his family already up and about. Priya was in the kitchen, helping prepare breakfast, while Meera and Rohan were playing outside. The day ahead promised more adventures and more opportunities to reconnect. Arun felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that this journey was just the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. The ancestral home stood on a hilltop, surrounded by towering oak trees and blooming wildflowers. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of pine and the sound of birds chirping. Arun's heart swelled with nostalgia as he stepped out of the car, his eyes taking in the familiar sights. The house had aged, but its charm remained intact, a testament to the love and care of generations past. As they settled in, Arun's relatives began to arrive. His cousins, uncles, and aunts, each bringing with them stories and laughter. The house buzzed with activity, the kitchen filled with the aroma of traditional dishes being prepared. It felt like a homecoming, a gathering of souls bound by blood and shared memories. The children played outside, their laughter echoing through the hills. Meera, initially reluctant, found herself drawn into games with her younger cousins. She discovered a different side of herself, away from the pressures of school and social media. Rohan, too, was in his element, exploring every nook and cranny of the old house, his eyes wide with wonder. In the evenings, they gathered around the fireplace, sharing stories and songs. Arun's uncle, the family storyteller, captivated everyone with tales of their ancestors, weaving in lessons of love, sacrifice, and the importance of family. These stories were a reminder of their roots, a thread that connected them to a lineage rich in history and tradition. Arun watched his family with a sense of fulfillment. The reunion was not just about reconnecting with relatives, it was about reconnecting with each other. The warmth and love in the room were palpable, a testament to the enduring strength of family bonds. Arun realized that the time spent with loved ones was the most valuable gift, one that should be cherished and nurtured. The days passed in a blissful blur of activities. They hiked through the forest, picnicked by the river, and spent long afternoons playing games and sharing stories. The children learned about their heritage, the adults reminisced about their past, and everyone found solace in the company of their loved ones. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, Arun and Priya took a walk through the garden. The flowers were in full bloom, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to the fading light. They walked in silence for a while, each lost in their thoughts. Priya finally broke the silence, expressing her worries about Meera's growing distance and Rohan's lack of connection with the family. Arun listened, understanding her concerns. He shared his own fears and regrets, acknowledging that he had been so caught up in his grief that he had neglected the people who needed him the most. They talked for hours, opening up about their struggles and finding comfort in each other's presence. It was a moment of healing, a reaffirmation of their commitment to their family. Meanwhile, Meera had found a confidant in her cousin, Aisha. They spent hours talking, sharing their dreams and fears. Meera realized that she wasn't alone in her struggles, that her family was a source of strength and support. She began to appreciate the value of these connections, understanding that they were her anchor in a constantly changing world. Rohan, too, was forging his own bonds. He spent time with his grandfather, listening to stories of bravery and wisdom. He learned about the importance of respect, honor, and love. These lessons, imparted through simple stories, left a lasting impression on the young boy, shaping his understanding of family and its significance. The healing process was gradual, but it was happening. The family was rediscovering each other, rebuilding their relationships on a foundation of love and mutual respect. Arun felt a sense of peace, knowing that they were moving forward together, stronger and more united than before. The day of the departure arrived too soon. The house was filled with a bittersweet atmosphere, a mixture of sadness and gratitude. They packed their bags, taking with them not just belongings but a treasure trove of memories. The journey back to Khandala was quiet, each family member lost in their thoughts, reflecting on the time they had spent together. Back home, life slowly returned to its routine, but something had changed. The family was closer, more connected. They made a conscious effort to spend time together, whether it was through family dinners, weekend outings, or simply talking about the day. Arun and Priya continued their evening walks, using that time to stay connected and support each other. Meera found a new sense of balance, prioritizing her family along with her studies and friends. She often helped her mother in the kitchen, learning traditional recipes and sharing stories. Rohan, too, was different. He spent more time with his grandparents, soaking up their wisdom and love. Arun knew that the journey they had taken was not just a one-time event but a continuous effort. He made a promise to himself and his family to always prioritize their time together. He understood that life was unpredictable, that moments could be fleeting, but the love and connections they nurtured would last a lifetime. The lesson was clear: time spent with loved ones was invaluable. It was a source of strength, joy, and healing. Arun was determined to cherish every moment, to create memories that would bind them together through thick and thin. He had learned the true value of time with loved ones, and he was committed to making it count. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the family thrived. They faced challenges together, celebrated successes, and found solace in each other's company. The legacy of Arun's father lived on, not just in the stories they shared but in the love and unity that defined their family. Arun felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that he had honored his father's memory by valuing the greatest gift of all, the time spent with loved ones.